It's Friday morning. It's time for the About Mansfield podcast and the Consumer Advice Series. I'm your host, Steve Casillo. Appreciate you being here today. And as we do on Fridays, right now we're live on Facebook. You could also be watching the video on YouTube or LinkedIn. You could be listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And today, as we do every Friday, is we talk about your money, your income, your nest egg, your 401k, your retirement, and everything else that goes with that. In the studio today, you kind of heard a little bit there at the beginning and he's right over there over my left shoulder is Phillip Washington, the Chief Investment Officer with Stonehill Wealth Management and the host of Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. Say hello to the people.
How's it going? Thanks for having me. Yeah, that tone or the tune has finally got me.
It is a catchy tune.
It's very catchy.
It's now coming from California. I kind of have that little surf vibe going there. So it with the twangy reverb guitar, and it's kind of what I grew up with. So that's how I chose the song.
Nice.
Right.
This is a random question. There's country music in California, right? Is it different than Texas country music?
Well, yeah. California has what's called the Western. You talk about what's the difference between country and Western, and Western music actually happened and was born and raised in Bakersfield, California, and that's where guys like Buck Owens, who was one of the innovators of Western music, came from Bakersfield, California.
I learned something new today.
There you go. I tell you what. But we're not here to talk about country music or Western music, and we're here to talk about the mindset of how to manage $1 million or more. So let's do a hypothetical. I just happen to come into a bucket of money, and there is $1,000,001 in this bucket. I know we're talking about the mindset of not how to specifically talk about how to manage that. Let's talk about the mindset of how to manage that $1 million and one.
Let's first hope you literally didn't find the money in the bucket, because then we might have to get some government folks involved. But let's talk about the metaphorical bucket.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the mindset is important, and I like to use the analogy of when we all were in high school. My son's coming to middle school age, and you have the pull of peer pressure that he's needing to resist against, right? And so, hopefully the parent, you hope to give him some good values and things that'll ground him, like gravity. Mm-hmm. Same with $1 million. When you have $1 million, liquid, the possibilities of what you can invest in, what you can do, open up, the people that you hang around, financially change. You become part of the cool crowd. And just like a high school kid, like some kids don't deal with that pressure well if they don't have a good foundation, because they're willing to do anything and everything to maintain that attention, versus a kid that's grounded. They don't, they're cool being cool. They're not also cool not being cool. Right. They just walk to the beat of their own drums based on their values, what they like to do. And the crazy part is, because they walk to the beat of their own drum, they end up being more cool, because like, who's more cooler than the person that doesn't succumb to peer pressure? It's a different journey. And so same thing with your wealth. When you get $1 million, you have to have the mindset where it's like, all right, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna, here's my lane. I'm not gonna compete. I don't need to lust after what other lifestyle other people have. I don't need to feel the need to join this organization or do this charity or do these things because I got $1 million. I don't have to invest in these fancy things that other people that are rich invest in. A lot of times they don't make money. They just invest in it as a talking point to make them feel significant.
Right. So with the high school analogy, you've got the kids that are going along with the fads, the new clothes, versus the kid who walks to his own drum, the beat of his drum, the kid who wears jeans every day and who's not getting sucked into the fads.
Absolutely.
Continue.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Score one for me.
No, but that's the. mean, that's the story of life, right? I mean, that's the, you know, I, yeah, I mean,
Well, and doesn't that go along with in the adult age of those that are buying the fancy cars, the fancy homes, they're going hugely deep into debt versus those that maybe happen to buy a shirt from a thrift store or their clothes, but they're building wealth.
Yeah.
And 10, 20, 30 years from now, they are the millionaires versus those that wanted to live it with air quotes.
Perfect. In this example, though, and in this example too, I mean, you're right, but in this example, we're talking about people with $1 million, right? So I like one of the favorite people, my favorite people that I know that I think embodies being rich and being rich the right way. And he's rich, and we know a lot of same people, and people know that he's rich, but people don't know the extent to how rich he really is because like, you know, like he has a nice home, you know.
Yeah.
It's not an extravagant home, but it's like nicer. It's a nice home. He drives, I don't even want to say his cars, but he drives expensive cars, you know, like the most expensive ones. He doesn't have a bunch of them, but he has the ones that he specifically has always wanted, but nobody ever sees them, right? Not because he wants to hide them, but that's just not like, he doesn't feel the need to flex.
Right.
You know, and he's just as comfortable wearing, you know, regular clothes as he is wearing the clothes that he likes, right? And even the stuff that he drives, like what Jay-Z has a quote where he says, if I can buy two of something and I want it, then I'll buy it. But if I can't buy two, I won't even buy it. Meaning like whatever he buys, he can well afford, but it has no effect on his ego. And because of that, everybody follows him. Like he's a natural leader. And I mean, it's you know, it's to the extent where I had this fancy, you know, almost billionaire at my happy hour, and I said, hey, you know, this dude's coming through, you know, thought, you know, you may want to come check him out or whatever, and he had something going on, but it was like, to him, it was like, oh yeah, cool, like if I could make it, cool, because I think he's a nice dude, but like he's no respecter of persons, meaning like whatever, like I'm happy for him, but I don't need to like go hang with rich people because I'm rich. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
That's the mindset where I have no doubt that he'll continue to build wealth because it's just he walks to the beat of his own drum, you know.
And who doesn't love a drum?
And who doesn't love a drum? Yeah.
I saw a side note here. Very, very good drummer last night. My wife and I went to a concert up in Fort Worth, and Steely Dan, which has been around since the 1970s, and before you were born, and the drummer, out of a 13-piece band, the drummer was the main focal point, at least for me. And my wife had mentioned that too. So Steely Dan was marching to the beat of their own drum last night. Steely Dan. Yes.
Hope he has a YouTube channel. I'll look him up.
Yeah. Okay. So the mindset again of how to manage $1 million or more. My bucket of $1 million in one really is to march to my own drum, do my own thing. Don't do what everyone else is doing.
And the path becomes clear. Like if you have that mindset, the mindset becomes a magnet to attract everything else you need. So you'll attract the right CPA for where you are, the right attorney, the right wealth manager, right? And it may be the people that you already have, you know, but you won't be fooled by everybody who shows up and wants to be friends. Like the high school analogy, right? You know, I was blessed. We're having our 20-year reunion, and it just so happened to be the time of a family reunion, but I don't have a pool to go because when I was in high school, I was relatively known because I played basketball. I wasn't that good at that time, but I played varsity, and you know, good looking, smart, whatever, all around kid. But my friends that I hung with, like, we all kept in touch, and we all are, you know, family guys of principles. We all had good centers of gravity, and that played out in life. And so I don't really just at this current moment, like, I don't really feel the need to have a big draw to even adjust my schedule to go because I already hang out with them. And they're
Right.
not going because they're like me. They're like,
They hang out with you.
yeah, we already hang out. So why would we go see these people that we really, we really didn't like, I'm happy for them and I'm great, but, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm saying all that to say, because we had a good base of gravity, we avoided attracting people that were floating all and about. You know what I mean? Like doing whatever they need to do to be cool, right? And again, everybody got their own journey. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying, like, we attracted who we needed in our life that will make us better people, and we all over the last 20 years have made each other better humans. I believe.
If someone out there in podcast land had more questions about the mindset of what to do with $1 million or more, or how to avoid their next high school reunion, how can they reach out to Phillip Washington?
Hey, look, go to your next high school reunion if that's what you want to do. But StonehillWealthManagement.com is the website. StonehillWealthManagement.com. Best place to reach the podcast. Information on what we do. Book a time if you're interested. Thanks for having me, Steve.
We do this every Friday morning right here on Facebook Live, and then it gets bumped over to YouTube and LinkedIn for video. We also then upload it as audio on any of the podcast platforms out there. Phillip Washington, let's do this again next week.
See you next week. Thank you.